Any words you want to use to describe William Saunders?
Almost as dumb as Dio.
I sent Bindles a message yesterday when I rewatched this episode just going, God, Saunders is going to call William dumb immediately, isn't he? So thank you for doing it.
I mean, he didn't play two Yokers. Who doesn't play two Yokers at Final Five? And he said, oh, I didn't play the Yokers because I thought I was right. Then you won't even need the Yokers in the first place. You play the Yokers in case you're wrong. He wrong.
Welcome to the 7th episode of Festival 2012 Recaps from Reality TV Warriors. My name is Michael Armstrong, and joining me as always is the Canadian who's been caught by his family shouting, I'm doing it, Logan Saunders.
Good afternoon.
And the guy who has assured us that when he goes down, it's not like a slug, David Bindley.
Good morning.
Good morning. Have you had good weeks?
I had a lot of burgers.
Cool.
Yeah, that was fascinating, Logan.
Thank you for elaborating.
I judged a lot of burgers for a local burger competition. 12 restaurants participate each year. Local restaurants.
For local people.
Yeah, this is the 5th year of it. And this is my 3rd year of participating. And this is the first year where I've done extensive video reviews of each place, which has gotten a certain amount of attention around the community, which is hilarious. And I've been getting random messages from people asking which places to go to, in addition to the other random messages I get for restaurant recommendations. So yeah, I've been introduced to the who's who of the local Vernon community.
Yes. And it's really weird for me because we went into this season going, this is going to be the next episodes. Yeah, we're going to have a nice break. And then Hunted announced they were coming back. And then Hunted have now announced they're doing 2 episodes a week, which means we're not doing 2 episodes a week. We're going to do it weekly because fuck them Channel 4 schedules. And the best thing is, I joked about this last year because the year before they did do 2 a week. And I'm like, we're not doing double episodes again. We'll do it this year, but we're not doing it again. So I joked every single episode last year when they were doing it weekly. Yeah, we're doing it regardless of Channel 4 schedules. We'll do it on our own. And now they've gone back to this stupid scheduling and we are actually doing it weekly. So I get to record that on Friday and then release that on Saturday. Fun times for me. Cannot wait. And I may or may not have had to deliberately book an hour of time in my work calendar that no one can actually see properly so that I can record a podcast. Oopsies.
And did you see the new WIDM news? That won't be new when this podcast comes out, but apparently was just announced.
Yeah, it was announced at MIPCON today that Healers seasons are back and they are doing a second civilian season next year. Or this year when this comes out. It had been heavily rumoured, but yes, it was officially announced at MIPCON today. That's happening.
There are 2 seasons.
Yeah, and spoilers, we're probably still not going to cover it live.
No. They're running out of countries to go to at this point.
They are, but Oman was really interesting. I know you haven't seen Oman, have you, Saunders?
No, are we doing that for historians?
No, we're doing Iceland and Spain at the moment.
Yeah.
Are we going to do that for historians?
It's a potential at some point, I think is the official line. Just mainly so Fuzzy doesn't get an easy answer on bingo at any point. But yes, it's a potential at some point because I really enjoyed it. It was a very interestingly themed season. The only major negative is the weird kind of pacing of it because they don't end every episode with an execution.
Yeah, they do Netflix mole pacing.
Oh, no.
But it kind of works after the first episode. So the first episode ends with a weird cliffhanger. And I'm presuming you can remember what that weird cliffhanger is, Bindles. And then it just kind of works because the executions are mostly straight away. So it ends up being basically a proper episodic structure. It just shifts the execution to the start of the episode. So it doesn't suck as much as you think it does.
Doesn't suck as much as Netmole.
Yeah, they didn't do a netmole in that way and just have the executions appear randomly like Australia 6 did, but it kind of works after the first episode. The first episode's a little bit rocky with that because it doesn't end with an execution and there isn't an execution for a little while, but it kind of rights itself after that, I would say.
There are actual black holes that didn't suck as much as Netflix Mole did.
Very true. And I also love how, literally right before we started recording this, there was a deep discussion on who's going to be on Renaissamce, because you guys will know it by the time that this comes out. It's 2 weeks away, currently, when we're recording this, and obviously, because it's Renaissamce, they're not telling us who's going to be on it yet. And a deep discussion about who sucks worse out of Tico and the one we all hate from South Africa. South Africa 1 specifically, that Saunders hasn't seen, so I can't say who that is.
That is a very tough decision.
It is. I think I hate Tico more. I think Tico was way more fun for me to moan about in Renaissance, but I am hoping the South Africa one does not return.
So they're doing 3. All they're missing is junior season for next year.
Well, Renaissance is this side of New Year, so Renaissance is November, December. Then they're taking January off and most of February because of the Winter Olympics, allegedly, even though, they've never done that before. And then streaming's going to be presumably in sort of summertime again next year.
So the regular season, the flagship season, will be in March?
Flagship season has already been announced to start on the 28th of February, which means, as a result, we will not be covering. That's why we're doing this season first. We won't be covering that one live because it will clash with Belkia.
So we're not doing any WIDM live then?
No, not next year. Or this year, when this comes out. Not planning, at least. If Belkia ends up being a bit later, then maybe we will do WIDM live, but this one is meant to take us up to like March. I think this episode actually will come out probably the premiere week of WIDM 26. Thinking about it, I think this is the last week of February episode. So, previously, Lisbeth and Fritz were given the opportunity to earn an exemption by pulling a hay-laden raft across the quarry, but instead Anna-Marie pulled off a miracle and set it alight, earning the group money. Fritz was appointed treasurer despite his knowledge of this curse, but it struck again, making him the 5th person sent home in a very emotional execution. And Art says, in the swamp of mistrust that the mole creates, everyone's trying to find solid ground. It's gradually dawning on the final 5 that the only person that they can trust in the game is themselves.
Now, you say a swamp of mistrust, but we did just eliminate the player who dressed up as Shrek.
That is very true. Only in this episode, though.
Yeah.
And the episode title is Self-Knowledge. There is no time for a eulogy for Fritz, as Art has some bull for them, literally. He has the pot to distribute first, though, and warns them to pick a reliable treasurer, and they volunteer Hadewych. She is given an immediate dilemma, which is whether she wants to spend €500 of the newly acquired pot on a yoker for herself. And she doesn't hesitate.
I don't think Art even finished his sentence.
It's so delightful how she just turns around and goes, yeah, you guys were dumb for making me treasurer. Obviously, I'm going to do this.
I love her so much.
Who wouldn't have taken the yoker out of those 5?
I don't think anyone would have said no. I mean, William would have taken it and then not played it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Dio wouldn't have taken it.
I bet that would have infuriated people more if William had taken the yoker and then he didn't even play it along with his 2 other yokers, because then everyone said, "Wait, you spent the €500 on a yoker that you didn't even use? If you don't use it, you lose it."
Not to spoil a season you've not seen, Saunders, but there's a couple of format twists in this episode that repeat in South Africa to maybe a bit better results. Because stuff like the treasurer having personal dilemmas comes back in South Africa as well. And specifically the bridge challenge with the mole playing against the team definitely comes back in the first episode of South Africa, where they have to choose whether to do the cooling towers bungee jump. So it's interesting to just kind of see the DNA of South Africa come into this episode specifically.
DNA. Do not assume?
Yes, it was 2005, Saunders. You are correct.
I think that was 2004.
Stop spoiling my jokes. It was a guess, all right.
You're only 1 year off.
1 year out. So he tells them that the hills around them are dominated by bulls, and the bull next to him is made of blackboards and must be taken to the top of a nearby hill. They have 1 hour to reach him at the top, and along the way they will encounter things that can earn them money, maybe even the €500 that Hadewych has just cost them. Such an art dick moment.
To quote Dennis Rodman and Stephen Baldwin, it's time to take the bull by the horns on this challenge.
And as much as I don't want to take the piss out of Australia 6, their version of this challenge was quite memorable, but also had absolutely no tie to the location.
Yeah.
For all the jokes that you want to make about this challenge being quite boring to recap, and believe me, I will soon,
Yep.
at least it kind of fit with the location.
Yeah.
Because the Australia 6 one wasn't it in the shape of Australia, and they mainly had to name
Had
towns
to
of
name
Australia?
like cities and towns in each state and write them in that state.
Yeah. Like, that doesn't really have as much of a cultural tie as at least doing bulls and words surrounding bulls in a place where there's lots of bulls.
And the landscape that they used for this challenge is very typical of southern Spain.
Yeah.
It did look nice.
Yeah, it was a very pretty challenge. It's just not a very interesting challenge to watch.
Especially after we've just had 4 episodes of people just wandering randomly in fields.
Yeah. And especially after I've just watched the first episode of Hunted, where a lot of that is people randomly wandering in fields.
Is this the podcast of empty fields?
Yeah.
All we're missing are some tumbleweeds.
So along the way, there are 3 different red tents, the first of which gives them the category of words of no less than 4 letters to do with bulls. And Tim, with the cumbersome bull blackboard, is literally carrying it on his back.
Hadewych is not carrying it on her back. She's just wearing the backpacks and carrying the 2 smallest pieces possible after charging the group €500.
I do wonder how heavy the blackboards were, because they seemed quite heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim looked like he was ready to throw himself off the cliff from how exhausted he was.
They're probably not too heavy, but between the size and going up the hill, it would have been hard anyway.
Yeah, and also I think it's been previously established that it was about 30 degrees when they were in Spain.
Yeah. Like it wasn't like the challenge in Nicaragua where they had to get that big heavy crate up the volcano. Like I think it was a lot lighter than that.
I think it says it all that when they were doing the bridge challenge, there was visibly a cooler of drinks.
Yeah.
And whoever came up with the idea of writing the words on the head of the bull, that was a definite mole sabotage.
Yeah. Yeah, because that wasn't visible in the end. Turns out they had to rewrite all of them.
Yeah, which means they already had about 91 words, or maybe they came up with a few more in the process. But that wasted a lot of time in getting across the 100-word threshold.
Yeah. So they changed tactics, climbing to the top and then writing the words down rather than stopping and writing. Tim loses his rag a bit and drops the blackboard as they find the 3rd tent. And then, as promised, Art meets them at the top of the hill and tells them they have 10 minutes to reassemble the bull. They realise all the words that they wrote on the head wouldn't be legible, and as a result, they would need to rewrite them. And then they get a dilemma, which is if they have 50 words, it's worth €1,000, and 100 words is worth 2,000. However, if they overestimate their efforts, they get nothing. And they go for 50 words and choose correctly, as they get 91 correct ones, for a total of €1,000 of 2,000 for this challenge.
I wonder if writing the words on the bull's head made that part of the challenge easier. Like, because I think if they'd written it on the rest of the body, it would have been a lot harder to guess whether they got 100 or not. But I think they were reasonably confident they weren't going to get there.
Yeah, and also the other bit is that Art said the words had to be legible.
Yeah.
So having the opportunity to rewrite the words might not have necessarily been a bad idea.
Yeah, if they wrote it in Cantonese, that would have really cost them in this challenge.
That was 2 seasons later, Saunders.
Yeah, they were speaking Dutch in this challenge. And, speaking of speaking Dutch, Logan, pronounce the word.
Oh, which word? Steering vectors? Self-kennis?
Damn it, he actually did one.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be the same sort of thing that happens all the time where we tell you you've got to do the test speech in Dutch, and you just never do.
And you just weasel your way out of it.
Yes. Steeren. Self-Geddes.
So when they get to the second challenge, they realise that it's going to be heights-based, and, subtle clues like the fact there's a visible abseil line hanging off a bridge, Art says that the previous day they reached great heights, but those who rise can also fall. Before the challenge, though, he has to have a chat with each of them individually.
What's your favorite color?
Yeah, it's the usual things where they're trying to cover for them all doing something.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
There is an interesting wrinkle to this, though, and that is that this is the first time it has been confirmed that Art knows who the mole is. Because, quite infamously at times, Peter Yan did not know who the mole was.
Yeah.
He was the last of the big mole hosts to never know who his moles were, so he could kind of play along, I think. Art seems to have taken it a different route and gone, I want to know who the mole is because we want to actively use the mole more as a part of the season, which Rick has then taken off.
And we know, Rick knows who the mole is because of all the briefings in Cambodia and that sort of thing.
And the fact that he's usually friends with all of them.
I wonder if Hila knew who the mole was.
I don't think she did. I never got the impression that she did from Oman, but I might be wrong because she never, I don't think, had any interactions with the mole face to face. But yeah, Peter Yan didn't, as we found out, especially with Nora Naran and Jordan. But Art definitely does this season, definitely does in South Africa. I think definitely does in pretty much every other season, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because Art's seasons start having more of the Meet the Mole challenges than the previous ones ever did, I think. Obviously, you get the smattering, like the photo challenge and all that sort of stuff, but Art's ones tend to have a lot more close quarters Meet the Mole challenges.
Also, Hadewich's answer was suspicious to the... She was asked, which Spanish city do you like the most? And she said Sevilla. I don't know too many people who have said Sevilla as their favorite Spanish city, and that just so happens to where they would go by the end of the episode.
What's your favourite Spanish city, Saunders?
For like a larger city, that's a good one.
Well,
maybe
yeah, that's kind of what a city is.
Maybe Sevilla. No,
I was going to say if you don't answer, we're going to assume it's Sevilla.
I was going to guess Buñol because the food fights are vegan.
No, we established last week Saunders isn't vegan anymore. He's quote unquote flexitarian, like that's a real thing.
It is. Let's see. Malaga ranks high up there. I really liked Las Palmas in Gran Canaria. That was a pretty cool place. And Granada, I liked Granada too, but it gets a bit too cold in Granada.
They don't have good TV there anymore either. At least you got that joke.
Very few people will get.
Yep.
Is it a Eurovision joke or something?
No, it's ITV used to be split into regions, and the one for the Northwest was Granada.
Oh wow, that is an obscure joke.
Yeah, to the point that the Crystal Maze live experience is in the former Granada Studios in Manchester, amongst other things. So yeah, one for the Brits. So he returns to the group and tells them that he had a conversation with the mole, and they made a wager on the next challenge as to whether each of them will complete it fully or not. If the mole's prediction is correct, €500 will come out of the pot. If the mole is wrong, €500 will be added. The challenge itself is to abseil from the bridge and then climb back up again. And William insists on doing it despite everyone thinking that the mole would say he would.
He was already at half-mast when Art reveals the challenge.
He really seemed to love the words 100%.
I went into this episode knowing that William goes, obviously. He was not in this episode until this challenge. There was basically nothing of him in the first, 10, 15 minutes of this episode. And then he just suddenly appears, gets really turned on by the fact he gets to abseil off a bridge, and then loses.
There's a lot of Lisbeth in this episode.
There really is.
For someone who basically doesn't do much.
Yeah. The first thing that she does do, though, is coach Hadewych through her abseil.
Hadewych did not want to do this, but she correctly assessed the mole would assume she wouldn't do it.
Yeah. On the plus side for us, though, it is hilarious to watch her do it. Because her and Tim absolutely carry this challenge.
We forgot my favourite part of the questioning bit where Art starts asking them what Spanish words they know, and Tim comes up with Julio Iglesias.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then later in the episode says patatas bravas as a goodbye to someone. I think it was to the beggar. So yeah, Lisbeth coaches Hadewych through her abseil, and she shouts, "I'm doing it," a few times.
Like she's riding a bicycle for the first time.
Yeah. And I also love that Hadewych obviously didn't realise the second rope when she's climbing up is attached to the roof of a Jeep. Perfectly safe. I'm sure you'll agree.
I wish they would just show the Jeep starting to rev up and drive away.
Make it a bit more of a challenge for him.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't do it. That's fine. And the mole said you wouldn't as well. So that's 500 euros out of the pot, and another 500 euros on all of your medical bills.
Yeah, and also you are currently in a full body cast, like it's a Final Four challenge.
Making the pregnant lady do this is cruel.
Who's pregnant?
I think Hadewych was pregnant during the season.
Did she know she was pregnant at the time?
I'm not sure.
Or did she pull a Tanya from Amazing Race Asia 3?
Yeah. I'm assuming she can't have been that far gone, because you'd hope there was a medical before the season.
You'd hope so.
Yeah, are you allowed to abseil when you're like really, really pregnant?
I mean, I think as long as your waters don't break halfway down.
Yeah, she can't have been really pregnant because she wouldn't have got medically cleared to do the challenge, you'd assume.
It's like when firefighters bring out a trampoline to catch a dog or a cat from a falling window. In this case, it's just in case a baby falls out and they have to catch the baby at the bottom.
I was about to say that this is actually a responsible television production, unlike most American ones, but then I remembered that literally a year later than this, they do break Janine's back, so maybe I can't say that.
No. Would you have done this challenge?
Nope, not a chance. I am perfectly secure on the ground, thank you very much. I know I've told the story about when I did Go Ape and ended up having to race ahead because I was on my own and having to spend 5 minutes talking myself up to actually do the Tarzan swing to the point where I had to sit on the edge of the platform so I couldn't get back up again. So I would force myself to do it because I knew I'd regret it if I didn't.
You know what would have made this challenge great and would have been the ideal strategy to win a lot of money? Is just if everyone didn't do it. Like they have all of that infrastructure set up and they just say, you know what? The mole is probably going to say that most, if not all of us are going to do it. So let's just none of us do it and we will probably earn money.
I think production would have had a word with them if they'd done that.
Yeah, just walk away and say, you know what? I think we're going to get at least a net earning of 500 euros if we all agree to not do this challenge.
I suspect the mole was probably told, you've got to pick 2 people who won't do it all, like something like that. Like so they don't say everyone's going to do it and then everyone pulls out.
Yeah.
I think there was probably some sort of restriction on the mole being able to say yes or no.
Anyway, Lisbeth races down the abseil, saying that if it costs her 500 euros to do it, so be it. William goes full speed down, not like a slug. Anna-Marie has a panic attack, but then realizes the handle is fairly easy to operate. And Tim hates every single second of his existence and hangs in midair like he's died as soon as he lands. And says it was the worst experience of his life.
The one pose looks like he's going to be abducted either by a UFO or into the heavens by God.
Spoilers, if Fuzzy does not work out that is going to be the banner this episode, I have lost all faith in her. Because obviously it's the funniest visual of the episode.
I thought the funniest visual was that one shot of Anna-Marie, Hadewych, and William all leaning over the bridge to yell at Tim while he was climbing back up.
Oh no, Tim just kind of flopping as soon as he lands in the abseil just really tickled me when I rewatched it yesterday. I'm like, I need to get a good shot of that because that needs to be a banner. It's a perfect banner shot. I have already screenshotted it, as you might have guessed.
Oh, of course.
So all 5 of them completed the challenge, and Art confirms that Hadewych and William beat the Bulls' predictions, and Lisbeth, Anna-Marie, and Tim did not, meaning they lose 500 euros of 2,500 for the challenge. On the plus side, though, they are heading to Seville.
And the less said about William's singing, the better.
Yep, that was awful. I would punch him in the face for that alone.
If he'd done this a year later, maybe we would have heard him sing All Star on the way up.
I just got it.
So Hart says that it was an exciting day for the mole operating in the open and under their noses, and once again they managed to take money from the pot. And the group speculate what they'll be doing today before someone goes home. And Anna-Marie says that it'll be William, as he's already on borrowed time after the Hofty house, and he needs to fulfill his promises.
I suppose the good news is, at least this time when they lost 500 euros, they didn't have to haul a bull up the rope with them.
Very true. Lisbeth answers a ringing telephone, and Art says that he's looking for Tim. He refuses to put it on speakerphone and is told to go to the Bar Citron in an hour on Avenue de Portugal.
Why did he refuse to put it on speakerphone?
Because he might have been getting a personal offer. You never know. Hadewych's already betrayed the group once. Kind of understand Tim's decision here.
Do we know why they picked Tim?
No, I was wondering about that because it just feels like a bit of a random choice.
Yeah. The only things I can think of are either A, they wanted him to get a little bit of airtime because they thought maybe he was going to be a little bit of a quieter character in the season compared to Hadewych and Anna Marie and Lisbeth narrating. Or B, they thought it would just be funnier. And I think, just to watch him, strike out with the people of Spain, as the people of Spain have taste.
I think there might be a third option here in that Seville doesn't seem like it has as many English speakers as, say, Malaga, which is very full of British tourists at all times of the year. I
Indeed.
think they probably needed to ensure that there were Spanish speakers on both of the pairs in the next challenge.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I bet they picked Tim because maybe they knew in terms of Spanish fluency, maybe he's the absolute worst for it.
Yeah, Hardwick seemed fairly fluent from what we saw. I think Lisbeth maybe was fairly competent in Spanish as well, so I suspect that they were encouraged at least to split up.
Anna Marie just knows they have €100.
Yeah, so I think it was probably more they needed Spanish speakers in the next challenge, and Tim was kind of an also ran in that.
And then having the person run around to try and find people to help out with the challenge and use the least skilled person in Spanish in the cast also makes the challenge as ideal as possible and as funny as possible to play out.
Yeah, I know I've said this in the past about similar challenges, mainly when we were doing Oregon, but this would be a fucking nightmare of a challenge to do.
Yeah.
I'm on record as not particularly loving challenges that forcibly include the general public against potentially their will. This is not entirely comfortable. It's sort of
No.
made better by Tim striking out with the cute girl, but
Yeah.
still not comfortable. It is just a Dutch man running around Seville going, please someone help me, and nobody understanding him.
Yeah. Like, I think you can do challenges that involve the locals pretty easily. It's just when the challenge is, get as many people as you can, that's not really interesting because the options are you get enough people that you can do the challenge easily, or you don't get enough people and the challenge fails. Like, there's not really an interesting way to sabotage that.
Yeah. So the other four go to the campus and find 2 easels, and they've got to bring 2 famous Spanish paintings to life in an hour and a half. And Tim immediately finds a cute girl and speaks to her thanks to the camera, and she shuts him down quickly and tells him to go to a street by the university, which will be full of people who will actually help him.
And the university is in Malaga.
Yes.
You just get away as far away from me as possible.
Meanwhile, William thinks the most important feature of the Picasso painting is the big yellow tits.
Well, of course he does.
Get the lemons.
Break out the lemons. William needs to recreate a photo.
That's why I was at Bar Citron.
Yeah, very true. It was a clue William's actually the mole. So the street that she suggested to him is full of people who don't really speak English, and he finds a group of Germans who tell him where the School of Art is, and there he finds a group of art history students.
But yet they knew very little about Art the host.
I mean, it's a very short history class. It's only about 10 episodes. I think the shopping's sort of the more fun part of this challenge anyway, a little bit.
Yeah, we had both forgotten about the Chinese supermarket.
Yeah. They've always got everything in Chinese supermarkets. Some potting mix, some pretend sea, some big yellow tits. You can get everything in a Chinese supermarket.
I'm surprised that commercial didn't go viral.
Yeah.
Maybe it did, but only in Holland.
And Elizabeth describes it as a mini Walmart.
See, I think that was a translation, because I don't think she actually said Walmart. I think she probably said the Dutch equivalent of Walmart, and it was just kind of translated by that Spark.
Yeah. I did notice sort of earlier in the episode, like, for whatever reason, that Dark Spark usually never translated the swear words directly. But she did when she said Tim was scared shitless on the abseiling line, and like it sort of stood out. So maybe I'm wondering whether that was like a translation thing as well.
Yeah, probably. So when the time expires, Art confirms the challenge, which is that the students have to guess which pieces have been recreated and identify both the artist and the piece's title. For each correct identification, they'll earn €1,000 for the pot. Picasso and Dali are both identified quickly, but not the titles, meaning that they earn nothing again.
Oh, and then they have to say goodbye to the art students, or as Tim would say, patatas bravas. I was surprised they were stealing branches from that orange tree in public.
Yeah.
That would be very frowned upon in Spain. I would not have been brave enough to do that.
Yeah.
And I especially wouldn't be as brave as William, who, after stealing the branches, says, "Oh, I'll rub myself with this."
To be fair, that just seemed to be his solution to everything, mainly when he was on the abseil line.
We sort of completely skipped over one of my favourite. I'm going to act like I'm the mole moments in this challenge, which is basically right before the end of the time limit. Anna Marie lets out the biggest fake sneeze and just drops one of her lemon tits.
Yes, she does. She was very entertaining this episode.
It's rolling away.
You'd hope that she was the one who put it back together rather than relying on William.
It looked like he was the one that put it back in there. And I was thinking, that's why he insisted upon buying the lemons.
In the first challenge, it was very much established they knew each other, so maybe they have that sort of a friendship where one of them will put lemons down the other's bra.
Although usually it's Anna Marie doing it to William.
Anything else to say about the challenge?
It seems odd that a group of like art history students in Seville wouldn't be able to name the persistence of memory. Like I get that the Picasso one is like a little bit harder. That like you either know the name or you don't. But the Melting Clocks painting is maybe one of the most famous artworks of all time. Like it seems odd that they would not have known the title of that if they were art history students in Spain.
Yeah, I wonder whether they were confused about the English title or something like that.
Oh, like trying to directly translate it.
Yeah, because again, we got another demonstration of Art being able to speak Spanish. He was very fluent with the art history students, telling them they were wrong.
Incorrecto.
This entire back half of the season does just seem to be an opportunity for Art to display that he speaks Spanish again.
It's his audition to be the Spanish ambassador.
Yeah, it feels like he's very much just going, oh, can I speak Spanish now again, please, please? Or maybe they just found art history students who couldn't speak English. He's like, I've got a solution for this. So, unfortunately, with the failed titles, they earn nothing of €2,000 for the challenge, nothing of €6,000 for the episode, and €8,100 of 62,200 for the season so far. And they go straight into the test and execution.
I love that they do like a whole bunch of B-roll for the university in the setup for the test, but then the test is actually being done at the riverbank.
Yeah, because they established that it was a former tobacco factory, and then that's it. It's just like, oh yeah, you need to go to a tobacco factory that's now the university. Just tell them to go to the university, Art.
Yeah, it's they handle this so weirdly this episode.
So it's time for the test. 20 questions about the identity and actions of the mole. Whoever knows least goes home, except for the mole who can never go home. And as we see, Hadewych has one yoker at least, and William has at least two. Well, presumably just two, because he only declared two.
2? What do you mean he has only 2? I can't possibly calculate 2 yokers.
Thank you, James Clement.
Lisbeth's super nervous. She says there are 5 people left, and after today there'll only be 4, because that's how numbers work.
Damn it down a little bit more for Logan.
For Dio.
So Lisbeth says that there are 5 people left, and tomorrow there'll only be 4. That's 1 less. You're keeping up.
And listener, in case you think we're being patronising to people, yes.
Have you met Saunders? I have, repeatedly.
I have.
Wait. So somebody gets eliminated today. So,
Yeah.
And you're saying that leaves 4 after that. So that'll be interesting because there'll be fewer people, which means there'll be a higher chance for everyone to figure out who the mole is.
I do wonder if anyone who sort of stumbled upon this podcast and just listened to it for the first time thinks that I hate you. Because I am well aware that I take the piss out of you a lot, but also you deserve it.
So wait, if William gets eliminated this episode, does that mean he's not the mole?
Not necessarily, because he could still come back from Redencienda Temple.
What about the mushroom-shaped building? Is that where Redencienda Temple is this season?
Yeah, they're all hiding under the roof of the mushroom-shaped building, and someone's going to come back at Final Four. And they could still be the mole. You never know.
They'll be attached to a jeep, and the jeep will pull them out?
Yeah.
To be fair, they are in Spain, so it's not Redencienda Temple, it's Redencienda Hacienda.
I think we've just found a title. Lisbeth says everyone's so observant and knows so much it's getting difficult to win. William has discounted Hadewych despite her being a phenomenal actress. He has 2 yokers but won't use them as he thinks he'll be okay and he can save them for the next test. Spoilers, listener, he will not be okay and he cannot save them for the next test. Hadewych says it was okay to hedge your bets before, but now is the time to go all in. It's a matter of intuition. Anna-Marie is still splitting between Lisbeth and Tim. Tim says he isn't sure why he thinks it's Anna-Marie, but it just is. It's a gut feeling. If it's not her, then it's Lisbeth. She hosted the news for kids, and that's all you need to know about her being suspicious.
Oh, yeah. Those kids' news show hosts. Ever since I saw Bart's People, I knew Bart was a no good kid.
Have you met Dutch kids? Like, that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I don't understand what Tim was getting at necessarily there. It was just such a left field comment to go, yeah, have you met the people who host kids' news?
They are the worst. I would rather meet a bank robber than a kids' news show host. At least a bank robber says their please and thank you.
And talking of the incredibly suspicious kids' TV presenter, Lisbeth, she says that she knows that it's Anna-Marie who's the mole. It's not the first time this season they've added in kind of a postscript after the test scenes of someone going, this is who I think it is. I'm confident.
Fritz did the same thing.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah.
And it worked out so well for him.
We had it with Fritz, and I think we've had it at least once this season before as well. Art says that they've had to go deep, literally and physically, but it was all for nothing over the last few days. The mole took money from them while they watched, but you may have seen more than the mole wanted you to see. Anna-Marie, Hadewych and Tim all get green screens, leaving just Lisbeth again in the bottom 2, with William this time. William's name is the 4th typed in, and unlike last time, it goes red, meaning that Lisbeth is once again safe.
He's keeping the Joker, mister.
I don't know why Art didn't just tell him to leave it on the chair. I don't know why he had to take the yokers with him.
Well, because Hadewych would have run over and grabbed them.
She would, but production can say, no, they're not yours. Give them back.
Yeah, ta Hadewych.
Yeah, just because she might have briefly had 3 yokers doesn't mean she gets to play 3 yokers. Lisbeth says she's confused. She thought that she suspected the same person he did. He reveals his 2 yokers and then is told to take them with him. And he was convinced that he was right, but he thought someone else was on the right track, so wanted to save his yokers for the semis or the final test, establishing that apparently you can keep yokers until the final test now. He's made it so far and experienced so much and done so many cool things, and no one can take that away from him.
And arguably somebody did just take it away from him. That somebody being William.
Yeah, William was the author of his own fate, I would think it's fair to say.
He was also an idiot.
Yeah, question for Saunders. Is he dumber than Dio?
Oh, no.
Okay, thanks.
Question
for Michael, is he dumber than Saunders?
Yeah, is he dumber than Saunders?
Are you smarter than a 32-year-old?
What kind of a 32-year-old are we talking about? If it's one that hosts a kids' news show, then yes.
How about one who got £9,000 on the chase?
No.
And then lost said £9,000.
How about one who got £0 on the chase?
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say I fall into both of those categories, so...
I think Dio is still dumber than William just because Dio just never had any victorious moments. He essentially lost all 6 challenges he was in. William still had the odd victory here and there. With Dio, it was a shutout for him through 2 episodes. For William, it's like, he did something that wasn't really dumb here. Or there were moments where he just had a really tough time listening to anybody else. He just loved hearing himself scream and yell as loud as humanly possible. While everyone else says, no, William, you wrong. Then he would just ignore them, and then they would turn out, but then he would still, at certain points, concede and let them take over a challenge begrudgingly so that they could earn money.
I think it's fair to say that William was a fucking nightmare the first few episodes. He calmed
Yep.
down a lot, but especially when Dio was still in the season, I don't think William was a very sympathetic character in the first couple of episodes.
No,
I came
William
to like
was
him a lot
dickhead.
more. Yeah, but he was a bit of a dickhead in the first couple of episodes, I think it's fair to say.
And he actually brought props into the confessionals.
Yes, he
Who
did.
the hell does that?
Which made it to his montage, to be fair.
Yeah, it's like, is he William or is he Dutch Carrot Top? Or the sneaky Tasmanian Carrot Top?
Well, do you think he's a sneaky Tasmanian carrot top? That's the question.
I switched it to Tim for now. I think Tim's the sneaky Tasmanian.
Is the sneaky Tasmanian carrot top still in the game at this point? Who knows?
Mm.
Well, 2 of us do, but you don't. So, next time they lose track of their suspects, there is a maze. Lisbeth asks Anna Marie if she's the mole, and Art offers an exemption up to finale in a high stakes game of Go Fish. Spoilers for that challenge.
Yeah.
Ralph Wiggum.
This is the start of the art era trend of final exemptions being attached to childhood games.
They were doing it during Petty Yarn's era.
Yeah, but I mean, art does it a lot more, I think.
Yeah.
So, final 2 questions, I guess, given you've answered the third one. Who do you suspect and who's going home, Saunders?
So my suspect list this episode was Lisbeth, Hadewych, then Anna Marie, then Tim, then William, and I think Anna Marie will go home next.
I will just remind you that I think this is now 4 weeks on the trot. You've predicted Anna Marie will go home.
Personally, I'm just impressed he put the person who went home in last place for once.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he even did that for Dio.
No, I don't think you did, actually. Yeah, I think with Anna Marie, you've been predicting her going home since Hofty House, I think, at least. I haven't started editing those episodes yet, so I can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure you predicted her for Hofty House, if nothing else.
Episode 4, I predicted William would go home.
I think it might have been episode 3 you predicted Anna Marie, then William, and then it's been Anna Marie since, I think. In summary, you've been predicting Anna Marie will go home a lot.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts about the episode?
I thought it was all right. Nothing. I don't have any major complaints about it.
Yeah.
It was indeed an episode of this season.
Yeah. Like, it's a fun enough episode. It's just really, really boring to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, that's not entirely, the show's own fault. But, like, I question whether the first 2 challenges were a good idea to do after all of the running around in Iceland.
Yeah, this episode is usually like at least 50% recapping.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot to recap in this episode. And unfortunately, us making jokes about Saunders fucking horses can't redress that balance too much. So, short episode this week. Have fun, guys.
Yeah.
So, thank you for listening to our Vista Mall 2012 recap. We'll be back next week to continue the hunt for an older mole in Iceland and Spain. Don't forget you can contact us on pretty much every social media platform except TikTok, where we are RTV Warriors. I can email us and contact at rtvwarriors.com. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/rtvwarriors and get early access to the rest of the episodes of this season. Thank you to that Dark Spark for this season of subtitles and Marika, of course. We will see you next week.
Peace out and just chill till the next flavoring.
No, it's supposed to be a pair of melons. MELONS.